All right, folks, so we're back. There's another big game, but before we talk about the big game, James is all the way in Qatar, in that lovely beach, apparently. So, so James, before we get into the games, James will probably take his private jet back to Smokey and Bunty's on the Avenue. We have a lovely giveaway, a trip. Let's hear about that trip.
Well, I don't know if there's any trip anymore because I've took so many private jets. I think I've used up the flights, so I don't know. But yes, for two lucky guests to come down and visit us at Smokey and Bunty's on the Avenue for the final on the 18th, there's two flights for two to Tobago. So come down. There'll be a prize draw on the day, and you'll get a chance to win that wonderful gift from our friends at Venture World Travel. And then we have shin guards from our friends at Armorflex. We have six packs from Stag. We have things from Angostura. And remember, Stag will be helping us with the final. So there'll be lots of giveaways, lots of competitions. And we have that big, lovely TV in the car park too to come in and watch the game. So it's going to be a phenomenal event. It's going to be a VIP event, I think, Andre. We'll send out some tickets for people. They can come and get their World Cup ticket and come and enjoy the show with us as well.
Yes, and we also had a lot of giveaways. We'll put those winners up in the videos as we go along, and then also the full videos will be on Instagram and various social media. Be sure to like, subscribe, the usual drill. But we're going to head straight into the football games. France, Les Bleus. A lot of people put them as favorites heading into the tournament. They didn't have they had, I would say, a terrible Euros by their standards. They faced Morocco, which is the team of the tournament. The neutrals are loving them. I don't want to say it's a fairy tale, but it's kind of like it is the fairy tale team. James, what are your initial thoughts heading into this game?
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. It is a fairy tale, no matter what people say. I mean, especially like I mentioned in the last show that we have an African Super League going to take place 2023. It's the perfect fairy tale leading into that. Will it come true? We will have to wait and see. But the way Morocco have came through this tournament is nothing short of magical. I mean, they have beat so many big teams. They're so resilient. And yes, they have some superstars, let's say. They have players there that they're workmanlike. They grind out results. They have a fantastic coach as well. I mean, it is really a credit to them, to their country, and to the work ethic that they all have. And as I say, sorry to say it again, it is the fairy tale story of the tournament.
Correct. And let's talk about their form heading into it. Morocco, their goalkeeper. I'm asking you this because, James, this is an area I think you'll really love. What do you think about his performances during the tournament so far, heading into this game? I had to show a lot of restraint. While you were speaking, James, I was like biting my lips, trying not to do YouTube references. Literally 3 or 4 songs popped in my head, like, Bono and his Elevation. And a couple others, but I'm not going to do it. I'm trying really hard. I'm actually resisting. I'm holding on to my blazer to not do it anymore. So I'm gonna show some restraint. It may pop out randomly. Hopefully not, James. Hopefully not. So let's take a the form guide. So according to this head-to-head of all time, France has 3 wins, Morocco has 1, and there's 1 draw. And in the current form, the last 5 games, France, 2 wins, a loss, and 2 wins. And Morocco draw, 4 wins. So with that being said, we speak about tactics, we speak about formations, but the form heading into these games are very important. Morocco seems to be going from strength to strength. A lot of people did not, each game was like, okay, that's it, they're done. but they do have quality players. I mean, it's easy to mention Hakimi, but Ziyech, and so on. These are massively talented players. I liked him since he was in the Dutch league as well. Hakimi, Inter Milan, and so on. But that's just kind of taken away from the overall performance of the team. France, we know France are stacked with talent. They did miss a lot of players like Karim the Dream Benzema. Okay? Apparently that's what they call him. Pogba as well. But kudos to France. They seem to have what they need against England. The goalkeepers had, we know what happened with Kane. Let's not talk about that. So that was kind of, I would say, France, the French, maybe their first real test. Do you think that what people are saying that this is the end of the line for Morocco? Do you think France just has too much firepower? What do you think? Do you think Morocco has what it takes to pull a surprise on France?
I think if we're talking realistically, I mean, France have so much quality. And on 9 times out of 10, you would say France are going to beat Morocco. But as I say, it's not 9 times out of 10. It's 1 out of 1 they have. They have that one chance, and you could use all the cliche speeches. You could think back to the movie Miracle, which it would be if they obviously get this result. But
movie, folks.
I think on the day, it's 11 men against 11 men, obviously substitutes, obviously included, but it can come down to anything. It could be, a mistake from somebody. It could be a moment of brilliance from somebody, or it could be that passion that just carries one of the teams over the line. Like I say, on form, to me, Morocco probably come into it a little better, but in terms of the stars and the team, you can't look past France. But again, like I mentioned, a lot has to come down to their coach. I mean, I was just looking at the coach's CV there, the 47-year-old. I mean, this is a guy who, he was a decent player, played in France, most of his career, went back and coached Wydad and AC in Morocco, won the Champions League there, and then got the Moroccan job. And what I like is he's not changed his identity. He's kept his identity, coaching-wise, and he's brought it to this Moroccan team. And that's, to me, what gives them the edge. Yes, they have the superstars. I mean, Hakimi, Ziyech, etc., Bono, but his identity he's brought to the team, that resilience, that fire, that passion, and they seem to be cool, calm, and collected on the ball too. So it could go anyway. I easily could say, yeah, France will roll them over, but it's not going to be that easy. And I think we could be talking at the end of the game about another surprise.
Correct. And let's talk about injuries. We'll speak about Morocco first. In the last game, they had a couple players missing, and also heading into this, I'm reading here, there's some illness and discomfort for a couple players, and these things for a team like Morocco could make the difference. They rely on a collective team effort. They have injuries heading into the tournament, and I'm also seeing that Aguerd possibly has a groin problem as well, and Chadira, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, will not feature because they collected yellow cards in stoppage time in the last game. So, but France doesn't seem to have any glaring injuries that we know of, or any players that may be missing. So in terms of lineups heading into this game, do you think France are going to make any changes? And also, will this affect, would these injuries to Morocco and players being absent make the difference in the end?
I don't think France is going to change their team, their starting team. I think if there's one thing, with exception, obviously, the injury early on in the tournament for Hernandez, and then the other Hernandez came in, I think they've kept it pretty much the same team going through. They obviously have guys like Coman, Thuram, who can come on, Camavinga. But the one thing you have to look at is, to me, that, again, I've said it in every single game they've played, that kind of weakness they have playing Koundé as a right fullback, to me, is a weakness in the team. And I think that's something that will Didier Deschamps persist with him, or will he make that change? As I say, the fact that they've not changed it up till now makes me think he will persist. But I think from a Morocco point of view, they want him to play because he's a player they can exploit. As I say, he's more of a centre-back, in my opinion, playing wide. And that gives Morocco a little bit of a glimmer of hope out there. So I don't think France will change much. I think they'll keep with the same team. I think in this game, they will probably allow Mbappe to roam a little more and come inside a lot more than he does in the previous games, because there will be a lot of space. Because if the one thing Morocco do, they do close ranks very quickly, solidify at the back. But as I say, the little injury scares that they had in the previous game, I think Roman Seas got a bad injury. He soldiered on for 50 minutes, but he was stretchered off. He could be a huge, huge miss for them if he doesn't play. I think they'll probably patch him up and play him anyway. But I think France definitely won't change things. I think Morocco may have to because of the injuries they have. But again, it's going to be an epic game. It's not going to be a high-scoring game like people will think. It will be like a chess match, and it'll be, to be honest, the best coach on the day that comes through.
Correct. And let's talk about formations. Will France, what formation do you think they'll go with? Do you think, we pretty much said that they're not going to change much, but what do you think? Let me know.
They will go with a 4-2-3-1, definitely. Obviously, Giroud was fantastic in the last game. He broke that record. He will play up top. Mbappe, Griezmann, and Dembele behind them. So they will keep it very similar. And as I say, I don't think they'll change anybody at all, even although, as I say, Koundé is the weakness. And then to look on the opposite side of the scale, I think Morocco will play that 4-3-3. I think at times it'll become more like a 4-5-1 defensively, because in attack, yes, it'll be a 4-3-3, but defensively, those two forward players wide in the 4-3-3 will drop back and become a midfield 5 really at times. And that'll be what kind of covers the space and does not allow France to play, and they'll have to play between lines. So I think, as I say, a 4-3-3 Morocco and a 4-2-3-1 France.
Yes, and obviously everybody talks about Kylian Mbappe, and rightfully so. He has been amazing this tournament. It seems like whatever PSG cobwebs he had, he was saving it for the World Cup. It seems like a lot of players. How do you think Morocco is going to be able to deal with not just Mbappe and his pace, but also Giroud, who has been very good during this tournament? He has been able to score goals. His criticism the last time around was he wasn't a goal scorer, but anybody who appreciates tactics and football saw what he contributed in terms of, laying off the ball, holding the ball up. But he seems to have found that goal-scoring edge that eluded him for a long time, at least for the country, at least at the World Cup. How is Morocco going to handle Mbappe? What do you think?
Well, from a Giroud point of view, they definitely found what he's looking for. But
there we go.
But I think the one thing, I'm looking at the lineups now, and I know I said I think both teams won't change much. The one little problematic area is because Mbappe is so good on the left, or coming in from the left, Hakimi obviously plays right full back, allowed to go forward for Morocco. And I think this is one thing that the coach will have to look at. Obviously, he is a very attacking fullback, Hakimi. But when you're playing up against Mbappe, it means he's going to have to stay home. So is he going to have to sacrifice Hakimi going forward, or is he going to have to put somebody else into right full back to cover that space to allow Hakimi to go forward? So that's that little tactical battle where it will come in there. And I think that's maybe how they will counteract the Mbappe threat. So from looking at it, if it was me coaching a team, I may play somebody else right back and tell them to stay home, and then allow, obviously, Hakimi to play a little further forward. But again, that would maybe mean changing the whole system, which is not ideal when you're going into big games. So as I say, it's going to be a tactical battle. That is one way to do it. But as I say, the coach has done so well. He will have ideas. They will be preparing for this game for a long time.
Yep. And, just to add something there, one of the things I did notice with Kylian Mbappe, at least in the Champions League, even with Neymar and Messi and these guys, even with Hakimi as well, folks, clubmates, Mbappe, with teams that are not afraid to sit back, which I know it's cliche, park the bus or whatever and counter-attack. But when Mbappe's greatest strength for me is when he counter-attacks and he has space to run at you. That's where I think Mbappe destroys a lot of people. We saw, Walker as well in the England game. While physically people said he was able to keep up with Mbappe, he did get past him a couple of times, and it required tremendous concentration. To me, I think for Morocco to have a chance, because to me it looks daunting to try to avoid France getting those sort of breakaway runs and, giving them that run from the midfield to the defensive areas, where I think Mbappe, that's where he thrives. If you could take that away from him and he has to stop and beat players 1v1 or 2v1, he can do it, but I think he's not as effective as if he's just running at you at speed. His speed is one of his greatest assets. So I'm thinking the coach may try that. But the thing is, France is not just Mbappe, folks. The entire team. Rabiot is a player I'm not a huge fan of, but he seems to really work in the system with Deschamps. And Lloris. Lloris is a keeper. He earned his money as far as I'm concerned in that last game against England. We spoke about that in our reaction. You could check that out. But we're trying to narrow things down, James. We have a couple minutes left. Let's get to it. Key player for France, key player for Morocco.
Well, you can't look past Mbappe for France. I mean, I have no doubt about it. For Morocco, it has to be between Hakimi and Ziyech, although Nesri's been fantastic up front too. So, but I will put my head on a block and probably say Hakimi because of that battle against Mbappe.
For me, I was going to say Mbappe as well, and it's correct. I think Giroud. I think because Mbappe made it, possibly Morocco will try to be defensive and stifle Mbappe. That's where the other players need to step up. I think Giroud's ability, his aerial ability, the ability to hold the ball up, we see him do it with AC Milan this year a lot. I think he could be that key player when you have a lot of players in the box. He'll be able to create something to free up the other players for France. For Morocco, to me, it's Hakimi and the goalkeeper, Bono, in the name of love or whatever. He is going to definitely have his work cut out. He's going to have to be focused and maybe rely on the counter-attack. And I think Hakimi is the guy who knows how to just break away and possibly capitalize on a high French line. So, James, the moment of truth, final predictions. Who do you think is going to win?
Well, it's going to be a magnificent game. It's going to come down to a lot of pride. And, I'm kind of stuck in the moment. I'm not sure who I pick, but I am going to say, again, I'm going to go with the underdogs. I know, as I say, realistically, everybody's going to be saying France are going to win this. I think the fact that Morocco have came this far, they're going to leave everything and they're going to be wanting to be on that final on Sunday, bloody Sunday, where, so they could make it all the way there. And a joking thing there, I was going to say to people, I wonder if they can tell us how many quotes from U2 songs we've said in the show. We'll count them back and there could be a prize for somebody too.
Yes. So, folks, just for me to end this off, I think the fairy tale will end. I think they're gonna put up a valiant battle. Morocco are more than capable of winning, but I think in the end, France, I think, will eventually grind out that result and then, more than likely get to the final. That's my thoughts. Let us know what you think in the comment section below, folks. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think, whether you agree, whether you disagree. Come on down to Smokey and Bunty's. James and I will be there, as well as everybody else. We'll be having the big party, or as we say in Trinidad and Tobago, lime. I'll explain that to you guys in a separate video, what that means for those of you who don't know. And also a quick thank you to all our viewers all around the planet. We've been looking at the analytics. We know where you are and where you're from. We love it. Continue to support us. James, we're going to get prepared for the game tomorrow. Folks, like, subscribe, share, comment. And James, let's end the show like we always do.
Well, one thing I'm going to say just to finish off, I can tell you now, the players are going to be running until they stand still. And they're definitely going to sleep like a baby like me tonight. So after a wonderful day, we've talked all football. We look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow at Smokey and Bunty's when I fly back. Make sure you all tune into the greatest show on it.
Yeah, yeah.